Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. It's Marie with Swipe in the City. We're switching it up a little bit today here. We're actually going to be a sports podcast. So I've got Brian in the house here. Brian, you want to introduce yourself really quick?
How's it going, everybody? I'm Brian. I've known Marie for 3 years now. We're both Chicago fans, and I think that's probably why she asked me on the show, because I enjoy my Chicago sports, even though I've been living here in Austin for the past 3 years. So, glad football's back.
And it is totally more normal now this year than it was last year, because the pandemic kind of screwed everything up for you guys.
Yeah, the basketball season was definitely really weird, but the football season, there's no fans in the stadium, so it was definitely weird watching it with filled-in sound, or like audio sound.
I mean, I like baseball, so I was watching with the baseball and like the like fake.
The baseball you're watching.
The baseball. I was watching the baseball.
I was watching the match.
Only the ball, actually. I wasn't looking at Chris Bryant or anything.
Yeah, when the points were
May
scored.
he rest in peace from the Cubs. I miss those eyes. But like seeing like the cardboard cutouts, I assume they're cardboard, but like it was honestly kind of jarring.
Yeah, I mean, people you could pay to get your cardboard cutout in the stadium, which was
bizarre.
It's just like, obviously a money play. I don't know why people do it, because I guess they would show it on TV and they're like, hey, look, it's my friend who's doing something stupid. But yeah, it was weird. Yeah.
Super bizarre. So, I mean, you said you're a Chicago fan. That means Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not missing anything, I know, because...
Yeah. Nope, you're correct.
I mean, Wolves, if you want to get AHL, or Ice Hogs,
Chicago
a feeder
Fire,
team. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Soccer. It's a big thing now here in Austin.
Oh, yeah. Q2.
Sidebar. Have you been to any of the Austin? Okay. Yeah. Is it good? Is it fun?
A lot of fun.
Okay.
Definitely a lot of fun. We're not good, but the atmosphere is great. I think realistically we'll probably be good in the next 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Austin's a place that people want to go to. So
true. And that team has had so much hype.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jeez. Well, shall we get into it here?
We shall.
So, I think just in terms of how serious of a football sports person are you? Would you say?
Some people would refer to me as the Google guy, because I do know a lot of random stats and where people play college and how many years they've been in the league. Mostly with football, but other sports as well. I like to do my research, and I like to watch the games. So
you know everything about everybody on every team?
Not everything.
Okay.
COVID definitely put a hamper to it. Only for the fact that I canceled all of my TV subscriptions, cable, so I haven't had cable for 2 years. I just watch the games either at a bar or I'll stream it.
Damn, and here I only pay for Hulu because of The Bachelor. So, literally no joke. I have cable for The Bachelor.
I have Hulu and I have Disney because I'm on Verizon and it's included in my subscription. So I have that, and then
you can watch some of the games on Hulu. Some of them. Yeah, I think local though.
I guess I haven't looked at it yet. I babysit for my sister sometimes, and so I finagle my way for their YouTube login, and so I do have YouTube TV now.
Okay.
I don't pay for it, but I have it.
There you go.
Yep.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do in this day and age. Mm-hmm. So how many games would you say you generally watch per week? And do you watch all the teams, or do you just watch your teams?
That's a tricky question. Do you mean just NFL? Do you mean just my teams, or? Did
I just go down a rabbit hole?
You could have. This past Saturday, I definitely ordered some wings, got some beer, and put my ass on the couch. And can I cuss?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know me.
I don't know. And then watch football Saturday, and then on Sunday I ran it back and watched football all day with Red Zone and one other TV and one laptop.
So we're talking Saturday is college football, of the very little that I know.
Yep.
So you watch college football, you watch NFL,
yep.
And obviously on Sunday you're watching not just the Bears, but anybody who's playing on Sunday.
So the Bears were playing on Sunday night, so they're the only game going on. So I was just watching the Bears. If they have like a 12 o'clock game where there's like 6 or 7 other games, I'll just watch the Bears and I'll check the highlights for the other games.
Okay. All right. That's fair. So you're not nearly as crazy as my friend Kristen, who literally will sit and watch every single game for every single team. She'll have 2 screens on if she can.
Well, I mean, I'll have Red Zone on my computer, but I'll have the main game on my TV.
Okay.
So I don't
That's
really...
intense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really pay attention to Red Zone. Red Zone typically will show all the touchdowns or like the points. And playing fantasy, that's the important part, and so I'll check that. But I mean, once I set my lineup, I'm in quite a few fantasy leagues. I know we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'll set my lineup, but for me, like once it's set, like I can't really control what the players do, so I watch the game for enjoyment instead of trying to watch like, oh, I need my player to do this, because there are cases like on Monday night where I needed Lamar Jackson to get 1 point. If you want me to elaborate on the story, it was crazy. He did not get it, but I was very emotionally involved with that game.
I know. I was gonna say, like, when it comes to fantasy, I feel like a lot of dudes are very like into it, in the sense of like, I feel like they do think they might be able to control with their minds the outcome of the game. It's very entertaining to watch,
but it's very hard to do. No, I'm just kidding.
Well.
No, I think I was at that point at one time, but I've been doing fantasy for like 10 years, and so it's at this point I'll set my leagues and set it, forget it. I do a lot of research before I set my leagues, but once the games start, there's really nothing you can do. So that's kind of the mindset I have.
So have fun.
Yeah, I do want to watch my Bears games though, and so you can ask away as far as your questions there.
Well, I mean, it sounds like this is a big time commitment.
It can be. I mean, if I'll watch as many as I can, but if I have something going on, like if the Bears play at noon on Sunday, like I do like being outside, so it's not going to prohibit me from going out and doing something. But if I already have plans to go watch the game, then yes, I will go, and then I'll go outside afterwards.
Okay, that was going to be my next question, is like, how much of your life do you revolve around football? And I mean, or any sport, but this is football season, so we're talking about football. He's thinking, for anybody who wants to know.
Man, depends on how big the game is, but if like percentage wise, like I can make time for other things, but I like don't. No, for me, like football for guys is like, it's a lot of enjoyment. It's bro time. It's like shopping for girls.
Or The Bachelor. Yeah, like y'all dedicate, like, I don't even know what days they're on, but I'm sure there's like The Bachelor on Monday, and then there's the follow-up conversation. Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah, okay, so 2 days now.
Well, that's only Bachelor in Paradise, but we don't need to get into that.
It used to be 1 day. What
it usually is 1 day, and 2 days is a lot for me.
Yeah, so just like y'all do that, it's like, this is the guy time. I know it's on a weekend when everybody has a lot more free time, but it's a lot of enjoyment. There's a lot of emotional involved. You don't know what's going to happen. Anything. So, I mean, you don't it sounds like you have some flexibility. I definitely know some people who don't, which is fascinating to me. But, so tell me a little bit, we haven't talked about your relationship status at all here. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about that. Single and dating.
Okay, because this is a dating podcast, not technically a football podcast.
Yeah.
So single, dating. How would you say football season impacts your dating life?
I would say it doesn't. I mean, I'll still go on dates. Like I feel like people have a lot of plans on weekends, and so I'll go on a lot of weekday dates, dinner dates, or depends on what they like. But like an activity, Zilker's always a very easy one, but. I don't plan my dates just around the weekend. If I want to spend time with somebody, I'll make the time, and if that's the only time they have, I'll do it. But if they have flexibility, then yeah, I will. Watch some football. At least get a game in or two instead of spending the whole day out doing something. But again, like it just really depends. Playoffs, that's a whole different story.
I mean, have you ever been seeing somebody and had a point where you had to cancel, or she wanted to make plans and you were like, no, the Bears are playing, or it's playoffs, or Has that ever happened?
I wouldn't say I've canceled anything. I would say there's compromise. I mean, I've dated girls to where they also enjoy sports. Or I've dated girls that they've tried to enjoy sports or pretend to enjoy sports. They always like to do the whole like, like the jokes, like they scored a point or they hit a few, like when it has
a goal.
Yeah. But no, I wouldn't say it's like ruined anything, but there's definitely times where like I'll kind of give it like a hesitation, like they're like, and then they already know like they're playing, aren't they? I'm like, yeah.
I mean, at least they know. Like, so how you've dated girls across the spectrum of their like enjoyment of sports. Is it important to you, or how important is it?
It's not important to me. I know for some people it is. It also depends on like if it's not important to them, they don't care, and then they watch a game with me and they're like annoying about it, then that's a different story. If that makes sense. Does
it take a, because I've dated guys in the past who like I'll sit and I'll enjoy a sport with you for whatever reason. I like to enjoy things that people I'm dating enjoy. But I've dated guys who literally would not want me there. Like they don't.
There's definitely people like that.
I dated one guy and he's like, I don't want you to see me like this. Like, cause he apparently would get, I still don't know because I've never watched a sport with him, but he would get so like aggressive, I guess, and like emotional about it. Would you like, is there a point where you would feel like that in a situation?
I mean, I feel like it would depend on like the level of the game that's being played. Like if it's the playoffs, I mean, I would treat that as you would a bachelor party to where you probably don't want to invite some random person or invite your significant other where you just want to enjoy it with the girls. And I think there's definitely games to where like you just want to have the guys and this and that and just focus on sports. Like there's games where I love going to a bar and watching it, but there's also times where I'd rather watch it at like a house with some friends and listen to the commentary and like talk amongst each other instead of not hearing anything about the game and everyone just yelling at the screen. So it just depends on the severity of the game.
The severity. I mean, I get it. There aren't really, just so you know, there's not a lot of situations where like it's just the girls that need to watch The Bachelor together.
I don't believe that for a second.
No, I love watching The Bachelor with guys because I watch to make fun of it. Yeah, so as long as you have an interesting commentary.
You watch fun of them. But when you're watching, like, for guys watching sports and you have girls that just, or people just, like, asking, like, silly questions or just have nothing to do with the game, they're trying to change the subject and revolve it around them, or they're trying to talk about other planets. It's like, hey, like, you can be here, but... Like,
but shut up.
We want to watch it. No, talk about the game, not necessarily shut up. But, like, if it's a playoff game specifically, that's mainly what I'm talking about. Like, let's focus on the game because that's what we're here for. If it's like, week 2, like, and I'm very aware that the Bears suck, so that's also why sometimes my plans revolve. Yeah, for real. Don't always revolve around them, but it just depends. Like, if they were a serious playoff contender, I was, like, focusing on them a lot harder, it would be different.
And would you, like... Okay, so we go to a game, we can't talk about other things, right? We're allowed to talk about the game. Are we allowed to ask questions?
Yeah. I don't care. I mean, some people will care and some people don't. I think it just depends. I don't mind if you're showing genuine interest in the game, then yeah, like we'll talk about, I'll explain things. Now if you're asking the same questions every week,
you're not paying attention. Yeah, that's just annoying.
Attention. But if you're showing interest and you're trying to like adapt to what I enjoy, then that means a lot, at least for me, as far as like, okay, she actually cares.
So, I mean, it sounds like it's just something that you would be open to like sharing with the person. I feel like you're more, more open and accepting than a lot of people I know when it comes to sports.
I don't know. I've definitely met people to where I've gotten in trouble for inviting a girl to go golfing before, and they're like, they don't do that. I'm like, what does it matter? Like, they don't play. Like, she came, she did not play. It was actually not the greatest experience because it definitely took longer. But I'm open to things like that. Like, if they're showing interest or they want to do something, like, yeah, like, screw it. Like, let's go. But if they're going to make it about themselves, then that's a different story where they want to be the center of attention. I'm not saying that's the case for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would love for more people, like, I don't know. Like,
to pretend to give a shit?
Yeah. But
would it be a first date? Like, even if the girl... Okay, well, if the girl was like, I'm a Bears fan. Like, or even... well, whatever. But, yeah, if they're like, I'm a Bears fan, why don't we go watch the game together this Sunday?
If they're actually a Bears fan?
Yeah, like, she's got pictures on her profile in Bears jerseys, like, at Soldier Field.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, is that for a first date? Is that, like, a green flag?
I mean, ironically enough, I have, like, had people like my profile because I do have Bears gear in mine, and then they also have it in theirs, and then I'll match with them. And so I would say it's a green flag. Like, I'd be open to it. I'm not open to it. I would do it. I know there's a lot of guys that were like you said earlier, like that would just be like, nope, sports are mine. You have your thing. This is mine. I can be somewhat emotional sometimes during games, and so I would have to forewarn them. That's when we're good. When we're bad, we're bad. I get it. But, yeah. So
we just watch because we're fans.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, the reason I ask is because of what you said about just not really, like, needing to talk about the game. And, like, so for a first date, would you want that to be more about, like, getting to know the person? Isn't that what, like, first date should be? Or are you just cool with, like, chilling? Does that put her in the friend zone? Now I have too many questions.
No, I mean, if they're open for it being a first date, I think you would learn a lot about, one, me, and then two, like what she can handle. So no, I think it'd be a fine first date. I do enjoy getting to know somebody. Obviously, I think most people would agree with that on a first date. So yeah, I mean, you can talk during commercials or in between plays. I'm not saying you can't talk. Like, obviously, if she's also a Bears fan, she would show enjoyment, I would hope.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So I think it would be a good bonding experience. Now, if they're not, then it's like, what's your level of knowledge when it comes to it? Are you just going because you just want to spend time? If that's the case, we can plan something else for his first date, at least.
Okay, that's fair. Right now, so it sounds like you're dating. It's football season right now. It sounds like you're open to dating during football season. Yeah,
I mean, football season's like 5 months. Why would I not be open to dating?
That is almost like half the year. You're right.
Why would I not be open to dating?
Hey, I had a friend once who said, because, like, it also aligns with cuffing season, right? Like, fucking stupid cuffing season. But so I had this one friend who he made this comment about how you shouldn't cuff during cuffing season because, and this is like almost a direct quote, because I'm gonna want to watch football and she's gonna want to watch some like show about cupcakes.
Yeah, that wouldn't fly. I mean, if there's football on and we're laying down or like we're cuddling or cuffing or however you want to phrase it, and if the Bears are playing, like, I'm going to put the game on. I mean, the game's only like 3 hours, and most of the time they're during the day, so usually cuffing's at night, so it wouldn't be like a huge deal. But
cuffing is like a season, though. Like, cuffing is like a thing. It's not really just nighttime, like having sex.
Okay, so if that's the case, I'll get 3 hours. They'll get the other remainder of the day.
Okay. So back to just, you know how to compromise, which might be something a lot of sports guys don't know.
There's definitely a lot out there that don't, yeah.
Okay.
I would be checking my phone for sports updates. Just full disclosure.
Okay, so you're on a date. This isn't
not
even
just, if I'm out and about, then I won't check it. Like I said, I'll set it and forget it. But if like I'm at home and we're just like
chilling,
yeah, I'll check my phone for updates.
Fair game.
It's fantasy. I have $800 invested this year in 5 leagues. So,
I mean, tell me more about this, because honestly, fantasy football is like a complete mystery to me. Mm-hmm. I understand.
You've never done Fantasy Bachelor? Don't lie. Come on.
No, I did a bracket once, though.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, it was the first I'd understood how a bracket worked.
You've never done squares or like March Madness brackets? Come on.
No, I don't like basketball, like at all.
Do you like gambling?
No.
Oh, well, there you go.
I went to Vegas and did not spend a dime on gambling. I spent $20 on a candy drink, but I didn't gamble at all. You went
to the Magic Mike show, didn't you?
I wish. I did not. I tried to get my mom to go, but that's beside the point.
No, but yeah, back to the point. Fantasy, it's leading up to it is a very exciting part of sports because it only happens once. Like the drafts, I mean, you can do Fantasy Kings, you can do, there's different apps that you can do like weekly things, but like having a league with your friends, like, you know, a lot of people hang out with, like we have a league together, there's 10 of us.
It's like social.
Right, it's very social. We all went to his house, we did a live draft, we had food, we had drinks, and we drafted. It's like an event.
Okay.
That, I would say, I would not ever bring a date to. As far as a live event.
That is a no-go.
Yeah, as far as a live event. No, that's just like have a guy date.
So, like, do you have to change? This is the part that, like, something, I don't know, somebody said something not too long ago where I realized that, like, because I always thought fantasy, you do that, you have your big party, you set your teams or however you do it.
Teams, yeah.
Yes, you make your picks.
Yep.
And then that's it. And then that's just it for the season. But then somebody told me that you change your picks every week.
You set your lineup every week, yeah. So you have like a full team. So say for easy math 6, you have 10 people at start, and then on your bench you have like 6 people. So each week you're interchanging who you want to start to who you think is going to give you the most points.
Oh, like a real game.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so sometimes, like the guy I played this past week, he had Rob Gronkowski on his bench, and he put up like 30 points, and he would have won the game, but he didn't start him.
Oh.
So you have to pick who you think is going to score the most and put him in your lineup. And then throughout the season, you play 16 games. There's playoffs in the season with your friends. Playoff fantasy, I would be a little bit more involved with the games and watching. That's a different story. That's like like end of November, December. But then you also do trades throughout the year too. So yeah, you can like
that news.
Yeah, you trade your players. You like make you barter and you convince somebody. And I've had a guy in one of my leagues like text me like 20 times already, like trade me this, and it's the same trade every time, and I keep saying no. But yeah, no, that's part of the season.
He's not as good at sales as you are.
No, no, he works in my office. He tries to sell me the idea. I'm like, you realize that we have the same job. You're not selling me on this player.
That's hilarious. So how much time do you spend each week during the regular season, like putting effort into your picks?
Into my lineups?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no,
I don't know the terms.
Well, it's 5 leagues sounds like a lot, but once you do your research, like it's the same thing for every league. So I would say an hour maybe. Like you set your waiver picks. If you don't get them, then you add your players the next morning. I wake up early, so I usually get pretty good waiver ads. And then looking through news throughout the week, maybe an hour, 2 hours. Like just scanning news for people.
So it doesn't really interfere that much with your personal life.
I would say that's probably average for most guys. Yeah. As far as like spending time other than watching games, there's people that definitely like put a lot more time and have a lot more money invested into it and
the money part is a whole different gamble.
Yeah. But no, I mean once the news comes out as far as like injury reports and things like that, there's really not much more you can do because there's not that many good players on the bench that you can find. Or on the waivers rather.
So, okay, you mentioned that a lot of guys really don't put as much into it. How do you feel like, I mean, because you obviously have a lot of dude friends who are also into sports ball, and like...
I wouldn't say don't put a lot, like... They have a lot of emotion invested into it, and definitely watching the games, like, that's important. But as far as, like, your fantasy lineups, once like the draft is different. Once the draft happens throughout the season, I mean, it's not as much as you would think. I'll say that as far as time invested.
I mean, I don't know that I speak for all girls. I just feel like it's always been like a daunting thing because it's so often used as an excuse.
Sure.
So, I mean, basically, like, you're kind of myth busting here.
I mean, don't girls use like other things as excuses as far as like, like shopping?
I'm sure. I can't think of anything, but I'm sure we come up with excuses too.
Yeah, an excuse is an excuse. Like, it's just an easier excuse because most girls don't understand it. But sometimes it's also valid. Like, tonight, there's a football game on tonight. A lot of people don't, like, Thursday Night Football's back.
Right.
So sometimes guys will prioritize that.
I know. I was surprised that you're going to record beforehand. Thought you would need to, like...
Well, I told you the cutoff was 7, so yeah.
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 And I knew exactly why.
Yeah. No, I'm actually going to dinner tonight. But no, it's not.
Oh, date?
No, birthday.
Oh, boring. Okay. So, I mean, basically, like, honestly, I've always just had so many, like, thoughts of this being
if a guy tells you
so
that he's doing fantasy research on a Tuesday night, that's a lie. 100%.
And, like, okay, the other thing, too, is, like, when your mood... It doesn't sound like you do this, but, like, do you have friends who, like, their mood is dictated by the outcome of their team's game or their fantasy league?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you
I'm still a little upset about my loss.
Okay.
I mean, it's, like, because I lost my boss, or my ex-boss, like, and it's not fun. But it was in a very emotional. Like I said, I lost by 1 point.
Losing sucks.
Yeah, but it doesn't affect my like attitude. I would say.
Okay, so you're not going to be like in a sour mood.
Immediately after, yeah. But I mean, that was like a Monday night game to where it's Monday night and the game ended at like 10:30. Like after that game, I'm gonna go to bed. So it's not like I'm gonna.
You don't want to go to bed angry.
How?
Sorry.
I was like, what? I mean, if like
shake it off.
Yeah, at 10:30 on a Monday night, I'm gonna go out and get a drink. No, that's a worse idea. No, I would say Sundays and Mondays, like, just be wary that there's football on, and that you should expect that is going to be a valid excuse or a valid reasoning.
Only on those days.
Yeah, and then it depends. College football is a whole different thing. Like, college football, though, is a lot easier for everybody to enjoy because they can have attachment to that team.
That's true.
Like, being in Austin, I know a lot of people are moving from outside of Austin to Austin. I grew up here, so I have an attachment to UT, but people like their city. They like supporting their team. Mm-hmm. And so they might want to root for UT or at least go tailgate versus or going to a bar and they're, like, both teams might be on because there's a lot of TVs on.
Sure.
So
I didn't have a football team where I went to school. So I basically just adapt anybody's team that I feel compelled to adapt.
Yeah. So you'd always say, like, oh, they scored a point.
Pretty much. Yeah. Oh, sports ball. Yay.
Yeah. Pigskin.
I'm your nightmare. Mm-hmm. Are there any, like, tips for girls like me who half give a fuck about some sports and give more fucks about others, but more or less find this season a little daunting because guys can get very into it?
I would say if you do find yourselves in a position where you're at a bar or you're at a party or you're just with him watching the game or enjoying the game with him or trying to or attempting to, I would say follow the flow of the conversation. Don't try to make it about something else.
Oh, interesting. So basically have some acumen, as we say.
Yeah, acumen, or like you said earlier, like be genuinely interested or like at least pretend maybe, but like don't be watching the game then all of a sudden ask about something that happened last week or like, hey, so what do you want to do on Wednesday? It's like, okay, we can put a pin in this conversation and come back to it during commercial at least, but like follow the flow.
Okay, that's fair. Is there anything that you can say that you've seen? Like, I'm trying to think of, like, if you have any stories where Even like from a friend or something, like something that's happened where there was a girl there and it just didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And what would be the remedy for that situation?
Well, I don't know if she listens to the podcast. Is the thing.
Is it someone we know?
Yeah.
Whoops.
I mean, there was a time to where, like, last year during the playoffs, like, in my guy group of friends, like, we have a big guy group text, and we all wanted to watch the playoffs together, and the Seahawks were playing, and we wanted to watch both games. We want to have a good time. And I was going to order a bunch of pizza for everybody, and then it was BYOB.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. And then one of our friends that she knows all of us, she found out and more or less kind of invited herself and said, "Oh, I'll make queso for everybody," and like try to make it work. And then it got off of football really quick, and as far as like the conversation, and we're just
monopolized.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then she brought like two friends, and it was just no longer. And it was playoffs too, and two of the guys really cared. Yeah.
So basically, regular season. It sounds like things are a little bit more flexible, but playoffs, like basically, girls step off.
Not necessarily step off. Like it's if you're gonna go, like don't. Like control or like you said, monopolize the conversation or monopolize the topic of why we're all together versus she just wanted to go party versus we just wanted to enjoy the game and then like be married with each other. Yeah, I said married. Yeah, happy. Like, have fun with each other.
Be gay with each other.
Different word. Chill out.
I couldn't resist. It's another pun. No, that's awesome. I think that's great perspective, just generally. And also, for me, debunking the myth of guys being horrible during football season.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely situations like my sister and her husband, like, they're both big football fans, but there's also times where they'll have watch parties for UT because they both went to UT, huge fans. But like they'll have their outside deck to where they'll have the game on, all the guys will be outside, and then the girls will be conversing and enjoying each other on the inside. So there's definitely situations to where you can make it work, but I guess you have to have the room to do it. If you're hosting, If you're at a bar, then obviously I'm going to the game to watch the bar.
Right, so there's a little more like flexibility in terms of like she can go over here and talk to her girlfriends, and you can be here with the dudes. And you can't hear shit anyways. Yeah. Because it's a bar.
Like, everybody has Super Bowl parties.
True.
And those are different because at that point, unless, like, I mean, the Bears haven't been there in 16 years.
No. Cries.
But no, those are different parties because everybody goes, and I can still watch the game. And at that point, everybody's going to be talking, and you want to be with each other. So I'm not going to hear the commentary. I mean, the Super Bowl commercials aren't what they once were, and so nobody really is quiet during this commercial anymore, so everybody just talks. And those are different. Super Bowl parties are fine. Like, okay. I would say, I've never, like as far as, like, the guys I hang out with, it's just, like, yeah, I mean, like, whoever can come. Because then that's just, because usually people, it's a Sunday, where I used to work, we'd actually be closed on a Monday because of the Super Bowl. So it was kind of dope to where we can just...
Not where we work together.
Yeah, no, not there.
Unless you just called in.
No, but like the owner just kind of understood the assignment. It was like, all right, you guys have fun, and then you don't have to call in hungover tomorrow. So
that's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, to your point, the Super Bowl is definitely more of like a party.
Yeah, that's an event. That's a social event for sure.
Yeah, and if you're at a really good one, you're at a place with a couple different TVs. So you can put the people that don't give a fuck over here, and then everybody that wants to yell at the TV can go in another room.
Yeah.
I've been in a couple like that.
Don't be that obnoxious person at the Super Bowl party, like, just asking questions just to ask questions or be annoying. Like, if you don't understand, like, cool, like, go have fun, but don't, like, constantly, like, not during the Super Bowl. If it's a regular season
not game, in the Super Bowl. Yeah. Figure it out by then, basically.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going to one of those parties and you're asking that, you're just doing it for attention because at this point, you've probably been to a few Super Bowl parties And so you're probably just asking the same thing over and over again. So either one, you're not paying attention, or you're just trying to make it about yourself. I'm not saying that they can't ask questions.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
No, I totally get what you're saying. Yeah. Like, it's either you're, like, being an attention whore, and because we're all focused on something else, like, you need it to be about you.
Exactly.
Or you're just stupid.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that. That sounds really mean.
I'm not going to go to a watch party for The Bachelor and ask questions during The Bachelor and be like, so wait, why is he saying that? Or why did she do that? Or wait, what's happening? Not like maybe during the commercials, I'll be like, hey, can you guys fill me in?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go in there and like during the commentary and interrupt the show and everybody's going to like literally like pause it, stare at me, take a sip of wine, be like, what the fuck, Brian? I'm like, hey, my bad. Like, I'm doing that for attention.
Okay. Well, good to know if I ever watch The Bachelor with you.
No, I'm not saying I do that. I was drawing like
I know. Yeah. I'm fucking with you. Yeah, that is really annoying actually when you put it that way. I do find it annoying. So as long as you can make fun of the show and if you don't know what's going on, it's cool.
Yeah.
Do people ever make fun of football?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I'm not saying football is as serious as a movie because you want to like understand the plot, but like the people that talk during movies, it's like, what's going on? And you're like I'll explain after, but like if you don't understand what's going on, like
that's not the way I talk during movies. I just give my own sidebar commentary.
Sure, but if you ever watch a movie with my mom, you'll understand.
My mom too.
Yeah,
I explain Harry Potter to her every time.
She's either fast asleep within 10 minutes, or she's asking questions throughout the movie.
Okay. I love the extremes. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Well, any final words here before we wrap on just general football and dating, life?
I would say every guy's different.
Okay.
Just get a feel.
So figure him out.
Yeah. I mean, it never hurts to ask, and I don't think you would not ask or be afraid to ask. Like I feel like most guys should be upfront, but like no, I would prefer to watch with just myself. I know there's plenty of guys that just want to be by themselves because maybe their team is that bad, or maybe they're that emotionally involved. Or there's plenty of guys that I'll go out with, and I would prefer to be out in a setting watching the game. But it never hurts to ask.
Okay. Sometimes guys can be kind of a dick when you ask, but
sure,
I get that.
But then I would imagine that'd be a flag.
I was gonna say that might mean they're not the match, and maybe we're just vetting them out a little bit.
If they're
sooner.
that big of a dick, then maybe. But I mean, most guys would be like, hey, like honestly, like, I would just prefer to watch it with the guys, and like it should just be that. But if it's like there's 17 games now, it's weird saying, but no, I wouldn't I wouldn't prioritize a game every single week, or weekend, rather. Like, I understand weekends are when you have the most time.
True.
So, it just really depends on, like, who they're playing. Like, if the Bears are playing the Packers, like, I'm going to watch that game versus they're playing the Bengals this weekend. So, it's like,
yeah,
like,
boring.
Yeah, like, I'm going golfing in the morning, so I'll miss the first quarter. Like, I don't need to be there for kickoff. Fair. Although I do have a friend that's trying to convince me not to go golfing so I can watch kickoff because he is a Bears fan and he's trying to make me cancel. So there are guys out there like that.
Yes.
But I would say most of the time it's safe to ask.
Okay. Have you ever dumped anybody because of how they behaved with sports?
No.
Okay. So you're a good dude. I feel like there are definitely some guys that have done that. Nobody to me because I'm just so respectful with sports, but
yeah.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you coming on here and sharing your sports ball wisdom. Mm-hmm. Where can people find you if they want to, or if you don't want to share it, don't say it.
I mean, if you're swiping in the city, you might find me on there. I am on Hinge. But yeah, I mean, if you want to follow, it's my Instagram's Big Bird without the I in bird. So it's my initials. People always ask where the Big Bird came from, but BRD is my initials. And I see your face. Yeah.
I did not know it. I've been following you for so long.
I'm 6'3", so I'm big, and my initials are BRD, so it was just a play on words.
I just thought you liked Sesame Street.
No, it's Big Bird.
Okay, well, good to know. I'm glad I've learned a lot today, so thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, and you can find us at Swipe and the City everywhere. And thank you to everybody who's listened. I hope you've learned something too. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.